I am a senior lecturer at the Department of Information Studies, University of Ghana, and a member and public relations officer for LIS. And I am honored to be your moderator for today's insightful webinar on advocacy for information literacy in the digital age of AI in LIS schools, a path forward. Colleagues, permit me on behalf of AFLIA and especially the Executive Director of AFLIA in the person of Dr. Helena Hassamwa Hassan, to extend a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us from various aspects of the world today. This webinar was put together by the Library Education and Training Section of AFLIA, known as AFLIA LIS, under the leadership of Dr. Sarah Kadu from Uganda. Colleagues, in our rapid evolving digital landscape, the role of artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly prominent. As AI continues to transform the way we assess, evaluate, and utilize information, the importance of information literacy has never been more critical. This webinar, therefore, seeks to explore how we can advocate for and enhance information literacy within library and information science schools to prepare future professionals for the challenges and opportunities presented by artificial intelligence. Today, colleagues, we are fortunate to have with us one of the gems in the LIS profession who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in the fields of AI, information literacy, and LIS education. She will share her insights on how we can navigate this complex terrain and chart a path forward that ensures our graduates are not only information literate, but also equipped to leverage AI in ethical and impactful ways. Before I introduce our speaker for today, I would like to inform you that this webinar is going to be an interactive one, which means that we are going to have some sort of breakout session to have some activities that participants are going to be encouraged to answer and provide some answers that will be attended to by our moderator. Without further ado, let me introduce our speaker for the day. Colleagues, our keynote speaker for today is Professor Perpetua Dadzie. Prof. Dadzie holds a PhD in information science from the University of South Africa, an MPhil in library studies, and BA in French and linguistics from the University of Ghana. She also has diplomas in library studies and bilingual secretaryship. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Prof. Dadzie has served in various capacities, including university librarian at the University of Ghana, lecturer and associate professor in the Department of Information Studies, a librarian at Ashesi University College in Ghana, among others. She has an extensive list of publications in books, referee journal articles, and conference papers focusing on topics such as information literacy, digital libraries, and library services to distance learners. Prof. Dadzie is actively involved in professional affiliations and has contributed significantly to the library and information science field through her research, consultancy, and community service. She is a member of the Ghana Library Association and former president of this association, and also a member of the American Library Association. Her work has been recognized with awards, such as the Alumnus of the Year from the Department of Information Science, UNISA. Prof. Dadzie is currently with the Department of Information Studies, University of Ghana, and I'm glad to inform you that she is my mentor. Colleagues, help me welcome our speaker for today, Professor Perpetua Dadzie.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you so much for your kind words. I'm just keeping my video on for just 2 minutes whilst I introduce my topic. and then I will turn it off so that I will have better internet connectivity. As Monica mentioned, we would have 4 activities, very short ones, not very detailed, because information literacy is 50 years old this year. I mean, technically, when the term came up in 1974 up to now, so we are celebrating 50 years of information literacy. And I decided to have an interactive session because all of us, all stakeholders, librarians, researchers, faculty members, we all know about information literacy. So that is why we are opening it up, so we will get more ideas from you. And advocacy is a topic which is very, very important. So without much ado, I am going to share my slides, and then we will start with the presentation. The topic for this afternoon, well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. And we have the topic being advocacy for information literacy in the age of artificial intelligence in LIS schools, a pathway forward. And I'm Perpetua Dadzie, as I've been introduced by Monica, and I work at the University of Ghana. The important thing to note about University of Ghana is the premier university in Ghana, established in 1948, and currently the enrollment is over 61,000. We have 5 main campuses, and we have a very beautiful landscape. Anytime you happen to be in Ghana, make sure you visit the University of Ghana. All right, so this is the outline for the presentation. We'll look briefly at information literacy and the evolution in 21st century. We'll look at the significance of artificial intelligence and artificial intelligence literacy in digital era, the impact of AI on human behavior. Then we will come to the major challenges of stakeholders. By stakeholders, I mean the librarians, the practitioners, the teachers. They are all part of the stakeholders of AI in the digital era, the way forward for stakeholders, and then we'll look at the advocacy measures that we would recommend that we all take. Then there's a conclusion. Okay, so we all agree that the library landscape is really changing. In the past, we have been known historically as sanctuaries for printed knowledge. However, the digital revolution has changed all this. So in the past, we were a static library, open fixed hours, but now we are open 24/7. We have the opportunity to share knowledge. We have the opportunity, in the past we all did the traditional things, but now with the digital evolution, we have access to many things. We are giving access to our users to be able to share knowledge, to acquire knowledge and everything. Now, this digital revolution has necessitated that libraries also adapt to the age of information revolution. We have to adapt what is happening in the environment. And for that matter, for that reason, it calls for incorporating digital skills in our search, in our use of information, and also calls for incorporating AI tools, artificial intelligence tools in this transformation. AI tools, you would all know, have really helped with our work. I mean, it has reduced our workload. It has impacted the careers of our patrons. And we need, as stakeholders, to develop the very strong foundation that we provide, the front that we provide, And the front we provide is teaching the information literacy skills and competencies. So it is not just about the traditional skills and competencies that we provide, but we need to incorporate what we call the digital literacy, because whatever they learn in school, it will impact their career in future. When they go out to work, they will be asked to search for information, and they are not just going to rely on the traditional ways of searching for information, but they have to be conversant with whatever the new technologies are. So for that matter, we actually need to have strong advocacy, especially when it comes to some of our static IL courses. And when we open the first activity, we'll realize that not many of us have changed our curriculum over the years. And this is really going to affect our students as they move out into the world. So it's important that we are abreast with times so that our patrons who pass through our hands would go out and be well versed with information. Now, information literacy, as I mentioned, is 50 years old this year, and we have some famous definitions, such as a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, use, and use information effectively. Now, currently, this traditional definition is being changed. Well, not changed, but they are adding the use of technological tools. So at first it was just the set of abilities, and now we are looking more at a new liberal arts which extends beyond technical skills involved in effective use of information technology and information resources, either print or electronic. And so we would say that right from the beginning of the 1974s to 1989s, even up to the 2002 and 2023, 2024, the definition of information literacy has really evolved to include the use of technological tools. And what do we mean by technological tools? And these technological tools also include the artificial intelligence tools. So the scope has really expanded. It hasn't changed, but it has expanded to include digital literacy. So when we are talking of information literacy now, we are also including digital literacy. And you can get many of these definitions from Sconial, Ansel, UNESCO, the Alexandria Proclamation, the Prague Declaration, and all these things. All these have provided different kinds of definitions for information literacy. Now, one interesting discussion which is going on with information literacy, and you people should also be aware, is that information literacy is now being regarded as a discipline. And it's very interesting. Discipline as not in the pure or hard applied disciplines, but as a soft discipline. And they are trying to link it to, in fact, if you look at it, it has all the elements of a discipline. And so that is the debate now. So very soon you will see information literacy as a discipline and not really as just as a set of abilities and technologies to access information. But that is not for today's discussion. This is just to let you know that we are moving along with information literacy in a very higher level. So let's look at what digital literacy really is about. And I broke it down into 5 main parts because digital literacy is you define it as the competency that allows a person to use and be innovative with digital tools. So we will talk about the digital tools, so computers being part of it and other digital tools. Then we should be able to adapt to these digital tools. So whenever we are teaching, our students should be able to use the digital tools, be comfortable to use these digital tools so that they will be comfortable in the digital environment. Then, of course, we have the digital environment being enhanced with the introduction of artificial intelligence. And this is where we really are now. Our students are using the generative artificial intelligence tools. So we have our students submitting their works, checking their works through artificial intelligence, and then we are more or less not very conversant with them. And I have a personal experience even before I started using this artificial intelligence tools. My personal experience was that I had students submitting work which was so perfect. So I started really wondering what was happening, because when they submit works, you will have to mark and remark. But then this was so perfect. But what I worried about their use of information about artificial intelligence was whether they considered the ethical perspective or whether they considered the ethical concerns. Did they just copy and paste in the work, which looks more like it, and raising the issues of plagiarism? So artificial intelligence, even though it is very good, we have to be at the forefront to teach the ethics of it, okay? It reduces workload, that is very good, but who is teaching the students the challenges of using these artificial intelligence tools ethically? So it is us, practitioners, researchers, library, LIS, school faculty members. We need to be at the forefront teaching the ethics of using these artificial intelligence tools. And I have some examples, okay? So I'll show you the examples later on. But let's look at the significance of artificial intelligence. Of course, artificial intelligence happens to be the way machines mimic the way human beings behave, okay? So they are enabled by digital computer or software, which is replicating intellectual characteristics, just like a human being, all right? And so for that matter, we need to be very literate about what is going on, the principles, the applications, the ethical considerations of these things. So you have some work being generated by artificial intelligence. Are you checking whether everything is appropriate? All right. So we also tell our students, for artificial intelligence, we need to use it appropriately, and I can't stress it enough. We need to use it appropriately and effectively, and that even the output of whatever we generate, we need to critically evaluate them. So you would see that AI is really permeating every sphere of library activities. We use it in our library to do our searches. We use it to enhance the students' work that they are doing, and even their research, and how information is searched, how information is processed, accessed, and disseminated. We have this issue of big data in libraries. So AI is processing all our data for us. But as I mentioned, the big problem that we as information professionals face is how we need to raise this ethical concern so that our students, even though we encourage them to use them, will be ethically considerate of the usage, okay? So we have to integrate all the AI tools in our library services and library activities, especially in our orientation. Teach them, yes. And there's no harm in teaching them how to use the AI tools, but then teach them how to use the tools ethically. That is where we come in. So I mentioned the free generative AI tools, and I'm just going to give a few examples. The popular one being ChatGPT, all right? Then the BARD and the rest, okay? Now, and I was very happy when I was being introduced to the free generative AI by a faculty member in the computer science department. So the person said, okay, now, this is me, you know me, all right? So use your mobile phone to search for who I am in the class. And we all did, and we realized that everybody had a different answer. And it was not the person that we actually knew who was presenting the information. So he said, so do you see that it is not everything which is which AI produces is accurate? So that was the first lesson. And that is what we need to take out to our students, that yes, by all means use it, but be critical. Go back and review the information, because there's a lot of misinformation and biased information, at times plain false citation. All right, this is creating misinformation. But we can only be conversant and be able to teach our patrons only when we have hands-on experience, so that we'll be able to teach them. Now, hands-on experience is very important for us, because by trying to learn how to use as many tools as possible, you become very much used to its usage. And you are able to tell which of the tools would give you very good responses. So AI tools, definitely we should be used, but be careful. You need to evaluate the AI, whatever output comes out, because some of the information can be biased, some can be completely false, creating misinformation. And that is what this lecturer actually did. The information which came out, and we said, oh, use the basic one, ChatGPT, use this, use that. And we said, no, but that is not you. He said, yes. The reason why he introduced it was for us to know that it's not everything which comes out from AI is accurate. Okay, so I think we will have time for, we move to our first activity, and I will ask the moderator to assist us. Have you incorporated the use of free generative AI in your information literacy course? I just want to know the extent to which stakeholders have started using AI tools. So it's just a simple yes, no, not yet. So if it's not yet, I hope by the end of this presentation, you would find the need to incorporate AI tools in your information literacy course. I must say it is very helpful. I have used it. I have benefited from it. But have all my colleagues, have they also incorporated the use of free gen AI in their courses? So, Madam Moderator, please, can you get some responses from us?
Yes.
We asked our stakeholders to just respond. And there are just 3 short answers. Select one. So we have just 1 minute to do this, because this is the A, B, or C response. Okay, Benjamin Sar raised hand. That's good.
Okay, so yeah, so Prof, there are a number of responses in the chat room. We've asked them to put their responses in the chat room. So we have quite a number of people saying not yet. We also have some saying yes. I believe Stanley is at behind, and Stanley will call it and let us know exactly how many of our participants are saying yes, no, and not yet. But there are responses coming up in the chat room.
Thank you very much, Monica. All right. So I don't see too many responses to this.
Prof, maybe let me just give a quick summary before
yes, please. There are. Stanley, please take over.
Yes, a number of responses. Unfortunately, the nature of the responses makes it difficult to do a quick collation and give figures.
Okay.
Maybe afterwards I can provide that. But overall, majority are indicating not yet, followed by no, and then just a few of them are indicating yes. It will be interesting for us to hear those who are saying yes, how they're doing it. But there are some comments here. Others are saying we don't have a formal information literacy course, but we do talk about ChatGPT in our presentations. Yes, but that's about the summary. Someone says not yet, but surely we will for the upcoming teenage program. So I think that's the current state of many, let me say, LIS schools. Majority not yet, but it's at least it tells that they are under consideration somewhat. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so thank you so much. So that is why this webinar is good for all of us. You know, maybe we were contemplating doing it, but we haven't done it. And so this is the opportunity to start really putting measures in place to be able to start with, just start with the free ones, all right? Then you can move on to the subscription-based discoveries, AI discoveries, because we do have those who subscribe to Scopus, for instance, the Scopus AI, and those who subscribe to, they are also very soon going to introduce the AI searches in their databases, but it's not going to be free, all right? It's not going to be. So start with the free ones and let your students, your patrons know how to at least use them. And at a point, I'll tell you about prompt engineering. If you don't put the correct prompts inside, you will get just wrong answers, all right? It's just like garbage in, garbage out. You need to know the prompt, the language it uses to be able to generate answers. Okay, so we'll continue with our discussion on artificial intelligence, okay? All right, so I move on to my next slide, which is how is AI impacting human behavior? And I limit this one to our environment where we are looking at students and research work and teachers and teaching load, all right? Okay, so there are other impacts on human behavior, but that will be for our next activity where you will tell us what other impact AI is having on our human behavior. But let's look at the first one, because we are looking at how our librarians or how our stakeholders will feel the impact of the use of AI, and they need to do something about it. First, it's affecting research skills. You know, I mentioned when a student of mine gave out excellent work. So traditionally, I expect the students to go through a process where you look for the materials, search for references relevant to your topic, and then you tease them out and get the abstracts and read and everything. Now, this time they don't do it. They just go straight to ChatGPT, put their question there, and then the ChatGPT just generates some answers for them. So our students are losing the traditional research skills for searching and also creative writing. And what's the result of this? Most of the work they produce is plagiarized. And the interesting thing about AI, you know, when they develop AI tools, they also develop tools to make them undetectable. So you'll have our students, yes, they'll use the free generative, and then when they finish, they use the undetectable AI. So you won't be able to detect that is AI generated. But of course, the language alone that they use will show that this is not really their language, but hey, you can't prove it, all right? So we need to be up our game so that we'll be able to teach them that even in line with the traditional research, link it to how AI can be done so that they don't lose their research skills. And of course, they don't also lose their information search skills, because the search skills are necessary to help them just find information wherever they are. So even when they leave school and then they go out into the world to work, they would have mastered all these set skills, and then they'll be able to apply them in the world. Then also we have another impact on human behavior, because people are always in a hurry, and then there's so much information. Whatever is generated, it is not critically examined. So it has a big impact on us. And what does it lead to? Misinformation. And that can create a lot of problems, especially in Africa, where very soon, I know South Africa, they had the election, but can you imagine if somebody used some AI to generate some information about one of the politicians, and it is not correct, leading to fake news, leading to misinformation, and even disinformation. All right. So we need to teach them, because AI has serious impact if information generated is not critically evaluated. AI is changing the way library schools are teaching and even how students are learning. And I have really benefited from the use of AI to be able to generate slides for my courses. But of course, I don't just take the slides, I look at them, edit them, and then if I need to add some more information to it, I do that. But it's really facilitating the work for us. And any faculty member who doesn't want to use it will see that we will have to go producing our slides and our notes the traditional way, which is very cumbersome and so much work. But with AI, it's made our work easier. All right. So teaching and learning has been facilitated. So it is good, but we need to be careful about how the information we generate from this AI. Okay, so this brings us to our next chart. As I mentioned, there are so many, the impact on human behavior is a lot, but I limited my discussion in just the school environment. So at this stage, you can just give any 4 other impacts, what you think AI is doing to human behavior, not only in schools, not only in the libraries, but even just around you. Okay, so let's get about 4 other responses. If you want me to review what I said about AI in schools, the impact, I said loss of research skills, even loss of search skills, then loss of critical evaluation of information generated. But anyway, one good impact is that it has changed our mode of teaching and even our mode of learning, and it is good. So AI is not only about bad, but there are also good aspects of AI. So it has reduced our workload, for instance. So let's see if we can get 4 other ways in which AI has impacted on human behavior. You can move away from the libraries, or if you still choose to be in the library to talk about the impact on human behavior, yes, you can do that. Or even look around you in the community and see the impact of AI on human behavior. So this one, I'm just going to give you another 1 minute. Let's see how many responses you'll be able to come up with.
Okay, Prof, thank you very much. Colleagues, there are already a number of responses in the chat room, Prof. So I will just be reading some of them to you as they come up. So we have students are now being lazy. It has an impact on social interactions and cognitive processes. AI has helped in easy transactions in markets. Someone is saying that, I think he or she asked GPT a question. The response was very good, except the sources didn't exist or weren't available. The sources were all us or US, something, nothing from Africa. Okay, the sources were all from the US. That's what the person means, but nothing from Africa. We all have to be careful. So I think that maybe when Prof gets to what she spoke about how to enter your queries, maybe that will be answered. Lindy is saying it has an impact on reading skills. Our reading skills are getting weakened by the day. That is what Lindy is saying. It improves personalized learning. That is from Stephen. And then loss of intellect. So the number of responses that are coming in. Stephen is also saying AI is actually having an impact on our jobs, that is job replacements. Okay, so the whole idea or the whole responses are hovering around our students, our job, some psychological and emotional effects. These are some of the responses that are coming up, Prof.
All right, thank you so much. And it's interesting, I am so happy somebody brought about the losing of our jobs. And so what does it mean for us? We need to upscale. And it is so important in this era. If we sit down and we want to do the traditional things, we will be overtaken by events. And of course, AI is just around the corner. I know some companies, they have really replaced they've reduced the front staff and brought in some robots to answer questions. Even in some libraries, they have robots answering questions. So there's only one reference librarian, and then everything goes to the robots. So that is AI for you. And we cannot really deny that it is the era in which we need to be able to be abreast. We need to be abreast with the times. Our digital skills will need to be very strong. So if we are not able to affect our digital skills, to improve on our digital skills, we'll find ourselves wanting. So I am going to continue and look at the major challenges for practitioners. Major challenges for practitioners and researchers. So it's about our stakeholders. So one thing which I actually noticed is that our IL, most of our IL, the content of our IL programs, we focus more on the bibliographic management skills. How are you able to do the search manually and that manually? We have not as yet incorporated digital literacies into those who have the IL courses. So the focus is still very traditional, and we need to look at focus, which is also looking at the digital literacy. So there's a need to incorporate the digital literacies. Another problem which really is affecting us, and not only those of us in faculty, is the slow pace at which curriculum is revised. And I can give you an example. In my institution, when you need to revise your curriculum, it will have to go through your college, academic board. When it's approved, it has to go, especially if it's a graduate program, it has to go through the graduate school and back to the college if it's approved before it goes to the general academic board. And so going through this process can take you about 2 years. And I believe that is why most people who had their information literacy program or courses over the years have not even thought of revising it. But there's a way around. You see, if you're an advocate, you do not have to sit and wait for a curriculum to change or to be revised before you incorporate new themes or new concepts in them. Now, you can add on whilst waiting for the official revision to take place, because you need to get your patrons or your students abreast with what is going on. Now, in Africa especially, it's difficult for us to keep pace with technology. And there are many things happening all over the world. And you really have to show interest to be able to keep pace with technology. The AI revolution did not come all of a sudden, but we found ourselves bombarded with so many of these things that we didn't know where to start from. Take your time, be patient, and then grow gradually with technology, which is affecting our environment. I know people have said, yes, we are finding it difficult to keep pace. And this is also what is challenging is that we don't have access to all these technologies. So inadequate access to technological tools actually creates the disparities in the LI education. Whereas the developed countries have all these technological tools, we have it difficult to subscribe or even to purchase these tools. And when we purchase these tools, it will take another 5 years before you can say, let's overhaul everything and bring in new tools. And of course, we lack the expertise. But you see, we as stakeholders, and when I talk about stakeholders, we the librarians or the practitioners and faculty members, we should not sit down and be content with, oh, we don't have the expertise. I mentioned at the start that I got trained in AI with faculty from computer science department. So what stops us as practitioners to form good partnership with those who know, so that we invite them when it comes to maybe our orientation for students, so that we learn, you know, so when the students are doing the hands-on, we also do the hands-on with them when they are being taught. And in the end, we will have the expertise to be able to carry on. So lack of expertise, I know many of us do not have the expertise. I didn't have till I got the training from the computer science department, and I was very happy with it. And of course, we also don't have any guidelines, we don't have any policies. But you see, if you don't know something, how can you even develop guidelines or develop policies? So we need to know. We need to work in partnership with those who are already conversant with it, because we need to incorporate AI tools in our environment. As I said, the students are using them. They are using them, and we are just being overwhelmed with the work that they produce. And for me, there are two important major challenges which I am looking at now, which involves the ethical perspective as well as the passive nature of librarians. I'll start with the passive nature of librarians. It takes a lot of effort to push us to change. I don't know whether you want to debate me on this, but I am ready for you. We are too slow in adopting technology. We are not amplifying our voice very well, and especially for librarians in academia, we can effect a lot of change if we are able to voice out what we need. We don't voice out what we need. We need our students to be information literate. How many of us, and we have the opportunity to sit on academic boards and the rest, how many of us have gone to listen, if we don't have this course, it will not help our students who go out into the world, because they wouldn't know how to access information, all right? Even when we host events, we should seize the opportunity to be able to talk about some of these things, you know, what is happening in our environment, the use of AI, and how students are just plagiarizing information. And so that you need to have these kind of sessions readily available for our students, all right? So we are failing to communicate across institutional silos. So even when we are academic board, we are not talking about some things, and we do not see these teachable moments, all right? So the last one is, we are not providing leadership in the context of AI development. Actually, we have left it for the tech companies. We think it's a tech company matter. Yes, they have developed them, but we are the end users. So we shouldn't leave it just for the tech companies, but we should also learn to use them. So we should be at the AI table, for instance, but we cannot be there because we are not even using those tools. And they know that those tools are very, very important. So let us try, and our passive nature, we should try and move away and be more techie. You know, we don't want to accept technology. I don't know whether it's our nature of the way we evolved from traditional gatekeepers, where we were sitting there manning the books. We didn't have any problems till this technology started coming in. But we need to change our nature. And I see one other challenge, which I mentioned, is because we ourselves do not use these tools, we are not teaching our students, our patrons, the ethical perspective of the usage of these tools. All right. We are not saying don't use them, but use them ethically. And I think this is one of the definitions in the older information literacy definitions, teaching them to use, use information ethically. Also in the AI tools usage, we need to emphasize the ethical use of these tools, because if we do not, this one affects academic writing. They are lazy. They don't even, these days, they don't write too. They just go and copy things and bring them to you. This is academic dishonesty, all right? And then, of course, we are not upholding academic integrity and standards enough, because maybe we've also become too lazy. There are too many students on us. So, okay, somebody has brought the work. It sounds good. Okay, well, let it go. But that's a major challenge. So I have mentioned 8 challenges, all right? Let me go over, recap the 8 challenges, and then I'm going to ask you to give us more challenges. Now, the challenges should not only be limited to academia, as I have done in most of my presentation. Let me go up and back and look at the challenges that I mentioned. The focus, I said the focus of our IL courses being on traditional bibliographic skills, the lack of revision in our curriculum, that we're not able to keep pace with technology. We don't even have the technological access. Most of us don't even have the internet in our libraries. And then we lack the expertise, and then we cannot even develop guidelines and policies. And my take for what is happening, our major challenge, is with the lack of ethical perspective and the passive nature of librarians. So I pause here again, and then ask you to indicate other challenges of stakeholders. Now, look at stakeholders from the point of view of practitioners, the point of view of lecturers, the point of view of people working in the library environment in the face of AI usage by our patrons. So what else can you come up with? And let's have another 4 responses. And we have 1 more minute.
Thank you very much, Prof. So we are waiting for the responses. But before that, Fatima is making an observation. She's saying that AI biases shows the paucity of data from Africa by Africans. Librarians need to start generating and creating research data and make it open so that AI models can be trained to be relevant to our local situations. Thank you, Fatima, for that. So we are still waiting for the responses. I'll go to the Q&A. If you have any questions that is related to the presentation, kindly put them in the Q&A. After the presentation, I'll take these questions one after the other for our speaker to address. Nina Chachu is saying people feel that because they know how to use their mobile phones, that they are experts. Okay, Nina, thank you for that. Florence, postgraduate teaching and learning is facing serious challenges as I don't know what PG means, but as the lecturers battle with plagiarism. Okay, from Cecil. Okay, Cecil is asking us to do some of our lecturers see AI as a lazy tool. Therefore, they don't like the idea of AI. That is for Mariam Boache. So we have a number of questions in the Q&A. We'll allow Prof to answer them whilst we get to the slides. So, Prof, the first question is, how does the increasing use of AI impact job market and the economy? And then we also have another one, that's from Bismarck Otre Frimpong. We have another one from Gertrude. Does one acknowledge AI tools when used in our work? So, Prof, maybe you can take this too, and then we move on.
All right, so let me say that our employers are actually aware of the use of AI, and they are also encouraging the use of AI so that it will reduce the workload, it will make work efficient work of use of the work, and it will make work go faster. So it is very important. I mean, we all recognize the importance of AI, and it's going to affect the job market. As I said, if you do not upskill, you'll be replaced by robots. And so we need to upskill so that if we add value to ourselves, who is going to replace us? You know, AI just, even though it mimics human intelligence, it does not always provide exactly what is needed. Evidence from somebody who said they presented a work, but the citation was all wrong. Yes. And I've seen so many of these in students' work which comes to me. I mean, they will do the very good write-up, and yet you see that they can't even get references. And if they do get references, it will be references which are dated. And still using that example, I said, okay, now you've cited examples, a current topic, we cited examples from 2012. We are in 2024. Go back and get references in either 2023, 2024. And it was a struggle. And it took them a long while to come, because in the first place, what they cited was not even what was in their topic. All right. So it does affect the economy. As for the economy, look, things move faster. And who doesn't want an economy which moves faster? If you have tools which can help you to be able to improve on your workload, on the pace at which you are able to produce, you would use them. So we are at risk if we do not upskill. And that is why we need to be very knowledgeable from now on about how AI is affecting our work life, our students' life, and even the whole environment. Okay, does one acknowledge AI tools when used in our work? Yes. I always tell my students, please tell me which AI tools you used. You know, some AI tools will not really repeat what the person produced to produce something similar. But I need to know that you've used these AI tools and that you did not copy. If you used the ideas generated from this AI and put the whole idea in your own words, I appreciate that. And I'll give you the full marks. So please, by all means, tell us you use AI tools. All right.
Okay, Prof, thank you very much. I think we'll take the other two. So Kenneth is saying this is a very vital presentation and thank you for the program. Okay, thank you, Kenneth. Yes, we'll share the recordings. This program is recorded and will be available on the AFLIA website. So after this, maybe in 2 days or 3, you would find the presentation there and you can download. So would it be appropriate for LIS to have AI department, Prof?
I don't think so. You see, AI, they're mostly tools. We need to incorporate them into what we are doing. So it's not a standalone. You know, in the past we said IL is a standalone. No, we shouldn't have AI as a standalone. We need to incorporate AI, especially AI tools, into everything that we do, into our teaching, into our research, into our searching. So I wouldn't, well, that is me, I wouldn't advocate for a separate AI department in the LIS.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. So, Prof, are there any closing remarks, since we can't share the slides, but we'll make the slides available. But if there are any aspects that you couldn't cover, so we listen to it carefully and then we...
Okay, so if I can remember very well, the last few slides had to do with the advocacy. And what are we advocating? You know, advocacy itself is a way of making known our position to policymakers and then to all those who matter, all right? And then one thing I always advise is that we need to advocate first in our own environment. I stress upon the point of training. So in-house training, external training, especially the use of these AI tools. I also recommend that when we meet the policy makers or those who make policy, tell them about the need to have AI taught to our students, because they are very, very useful. And I also, if I can also recollect a few of the recommendations. I looked at policy development. I looked at curriculum revision. So we will need to look at how we can revise our curriculum very often. I know if you're in academia, you know what I'm talking about. We can't revise every 6 months, all right? But find ways, even if you can't revise the curriculum, you should be able to incorporate new changes, all right? The changes that you think are coming on, and then incorporate them into your work whilst waiting for your curriculum to be changed. And then finally, we should try to be a voice. We should not be passive. I wish somebody would debate or start a debate on the passive nature of librarians, because this is really affecting us. We are too passive, and we are letting other units take over whatever it's happening. I mean, this is a tool which is used in academia. And who best can carry out activities using these tools? It's the librarians. We have thousands of students who walk into our libraries every day. What are we doing? So I mentioned strongly the need for partnerships. You know, we don't know, but let's partner with those who know and then overtake them. And as I mentioned, like the computer science department, they can come to our library to give orientation to our students, but we as librarians can't do that. So let's have close partnership with them. Let us learn from them very well, and then let us transfer that knowledge that they've given us to them. And by so doing, we'll make our LIS schools, we'll make our practitioners, we'll make our students well prepared for the job market. I must apologize. I don't know what happened to my PC, but I will share the slides with you later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Perpetua Dadzie. This is a very insightful presentation. Colleagues, we are very sorry for that interruption there where we couldn't show the slides, but as Prof has promised, we would have the video recorded and it will be available via AFLIA website. I want to encourage all members here who are not members of AFLIA to come on board to join AFLIA so that we can all move the profession forward. I would like to, first of all, before we take the closing remarks from Dr. Sarah Kadu, who is the chair of the AFLIA letters, I would like to read something that is in the chat room by Obed. Obed is saying, AI is not here to render us jobless, but rather to enhance our work. Instead of us to try to discourage people from using it, we should try very hard to learn the positive use of it, to make our work easier and also serve as a guide. AI will not make us unemployed, but would rather take the jobs of those who don't catch up with it. And I'll end with that of Kitcher. Students are paying money to subscribe to premium AI tools to help with their research. Ethical guide for the use of AI is therefore required and critical at this moment. So colleagues, thank you very much for coming, and I would call on Dr. Sarah Kadu. Doc, if you are here, the chair of AFLIA Letters, the organizers of this webinar, to give us our closing remarks. Dr. Kadu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monica Mensah. My work is very simple, is to do the closing. They are facilitators, both the moderator, the Professor Perpetua Dadzie, and then the esteemed colleagues who have made time to attend this presentation, to attend our webinar. These are webinar series, and this is the first. So stay tuned for many more to come. We are so grateful this afternoon for this opportunity to listen to one of the motivating presentations. And of course, I'm not surprised, this is Professor Perpetua Dadzie. She's a very wonderful mentor of mine. And I'm sure so many others will say the same. And we at AFLIA, particularly the LIS, that is the LIS education training section, will continue to remain relevant by embracing AI techs and, of course, reskilling within the current trends in the library landscape. And of course, this has been the call from Professor Dadzie. Quite often, she kept on re-emphasizing remaining relevant, reskilling, and not becoming the passive nature of librarians. So, Prof, you are here to support our objectives, and for sure we are not going to disappoint you. We shall do exactly what you are advising us to do. In a special way, today's webinar is unique to me in two ways. First, I have a passion for information literacy. And indeed, hearing that information literacy is 50 years puts a smile on my face, and how I could say happy birthday to information literacy. And secondly, this year, the East African School of Library and Information Science, where I come from, is embarking or has already embarked on the journey of curricular review, starting from undergraduate programs through the graduate programs. So very soon, we are going to let you know more about what we have to offer to you. Anyway, colleagues, I'm not here to make another presentation, but as I said, is to close. So once again, I want to thank our IT people in the background who are doing a tremendous work to ensure all this is a success. Once again, to our moderator, our own, Dr. Monica Mensah, you are doing us proud. And of course, Professor Perpetua Dadzie, you are always doing us good. The participants, I have a short of words. The last time I recorded, on this connection, we have been 180 participants. So what else can I say? That is a very good turnout. In conclusion, Prof and colleagues, we promise not to become passive nature of librarians, but rather advocates of AI, information literacy, and also to promote the ethical values around the usage of AI generative tools. With those few remarks, I want to wish you a very good day to all of us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah Kadu. Colleagues, thank you for coming. Let me take this opportunity finally to announce to you that we'll be having a series of these webinars, and the next webinar is going to be on the 27th of June, and is going to be on future-proofing LIS schools in an era of smart technologies, challenges and opportunities for LIS schools in Africa. And we want to encourage all of you to register and attend this webinar when we start the ads. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Stan at AFLIA and all the AFLIA technical men, as my chair has indicated. Thank you, participants, and see you on 27th of June. Bye-bye.